We've got a great show for you today. While NATO was occupying Chicago, we decided to occupy North Avenue Beach and talk to the Suntan locals about Ron Paul in our new Fire Starter segment. We'll also talk to Brian Seaman about the Ron Paul event of the year, Paul Festival in Tampa, Florida. We've got the latest from the delegate strategy and the hijinks from the Romney camp. But first, let's evolve. Welcome to Evolve, your weekly dose of liberty news created for the people and by the people. Thanks for joining. I'm your host, Forrest Jellick. To start, Ron Paul's grassroots delegate movement in Minnesota brought home an absolutely impressive victory, sending 12 of 13 delegates to the primary convention. Additionally, he picked up 8 of 30 delegates from Michigan, the Mitten State, a primary state that Mitt Romney hails from, and that Ron Paul spent little effort or resource in campaigning. It appears as if Congressman Paul's strategy of focusing on the delegates is paying large dividends. RT has projected that Ron has won 11 states. Let's watch a clip.
And just to put it plain and simple, I do want to put a map up on the screen, kind of showing the breakdown of the states as of now and who's won them. This map that we're showing, Ron Paul is in the red there, and 11 states have gone to him.
Although not all of these states have held their state conventions, it is certain that Mitt Romney has a Ron Paul problem. Under that light, let's take a look at some of the other little talked about states. At the Vermont Republican State Convention last weekend, Paul supporters won 2 of 14 national delegates and won 10 of 14 alternates. In all, Vermont has 17 delegates, including the superdelegates. In Virginia, the Thomas Jefferson state, Ron Paul supporters won 17 of 33 national delegates selected, with the remainder of the state's 49 delegates to be selected at the June 16th state convention. And while we're at it, we have to give a proper thank you to the Tea Party in New Jersey, who has officially endorsed Ron Paul, remembering that the true Tea Party movement is about constitutionally limited government and individual liberty, not the neoconservative Grand Old Party Part 2. I do believe that Thomas Paine would indeed be proud of the Garden State Tea Party, so thank you. So let's put all of this in perspective. While many of you were worried when Ron ceased his primary state campaign, the campaign strategically chose to push for the delegate strategy at the state conventions, whether it was a primary or a caucus. Using the RealDelegateCount2012.com, it appears this is working and that the primary is far from over. There are still over 1,600 delegates to be determined at the state conventions. Mitt is currently only at 475 and Ron at 176. Does the mainstream media tell you this? Nope. As Congressman Paul's campaign pulled from the primary races, his campaign focused on collecting delegates elected at the state conventions. This is where our ground game is at. So while the mainstream media told us that Ron quit, we want to remind you that this is what quitting looks like. And speaking of quitting or losing, as of today, Ron Paul raised a cool $847,000 since announcing he will not be spending money on the primary states rather than focusing on racking up the delegates. Does it look like quitting? I don't think so. So just to let the establishment know how we lose, visit revolutionpac.com and consider chipping in $1 or $2. We'll help him get there. So friends, we need to remember, in the end this movement may have started with Ron Paul, but its foundation is liberty and its end goal is you. Frankly, we are all Ron Paul now. And in the faces of these successes, what does Mitt Romney deal and how does he deal with the liberty movement? Well, it appears fraud from the Romney camp. If he can't win it outright, it seems like he'll just pull out all the stops. It was reported following the Arizona convention that even though Arizona was moved up early in the season so that the party favorite, Mitt Romney, could have a win, Arizona was punished for breaking GOP rules and its delegate count was diminished. The Arizona GOP establishment would normally seek to restore Arizona's full 59 delegates. But since most of the new delegates are Ron Paul supporters, it decided to accept its punishment and keep to the lesser number where Mitt Romney leads. Additionally, the Romney camp has set up a ghost party in Nevada to try and sidestep Ron Paul's impressive gains. And I'm going to quote from an article, quote, "Fed up with an inept and self-destructive GOP apparatus in Nevada, the Republican National Committee and the Mitt Romney campaign have decided to erect a shadow state party in this critical swing state. So let's get this correct. Ron Paul's followers do an amazing job of organizing to dominate the party in the state, and it gets called inept and self-destructive? Well, I've got to say this to you Silver Staters in Nevada. You are my hero. And we should expect the same behavior in more states. This fight is bare knuckles, and it's not for the weak of heart. And expect me to continue recognizing you liberty rebel rousers as my heroes. Well, Mitt, if you can't beat them, cheat them. But I do have one question for you. If you plan on cheating the fastest growing, most fervent and dedicated base to the conservative movement perhaps ever, how do you plan on winning without their support? And to the GOP, you know you have an aging demographic and a passion gap. Your future isn't knocking at your door. It's the liberty movement, and it's here now, and it's kicking it in. Embrace the liberty movement, and you can once again stand for the great conservative principles that you once espoused. So with that, let's get on to our next segment, Firestarter. We decided to occupy North Avenue Beach for Ron Paul, setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. Well, apparently women too. Let's take a look.
We're here occupying the beach. Forget Occupy Wall Street, hanging out, getting tear gassed in Chicago for this NATO thing. We want the true peace candidate here. Chicago, look at all these Ron Paul fans that just don't know it yet. Hey, you're a Ron Paul supporter? What's your name?
Patsy.
Where are you from, Patsy?
I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
Well, that makes sense. We are here at the Chicago beach today, a beautiful day. Tell us a little bit why you like Ron Paul.
I like his drug policies.
How about the wars?
The wars, I'd like them to end.
Nice, yeah, it's pretty expensive, and they're talking right here.
Extremely expensive.
Talking about bombing Syria and Iran here in NATO, the NATO summit going on. What are your thoughts about attacking Syria and Iran?
I don't like the idea of attacking anybody, but I just support Ron Paul 100%.
100% supports Ron Paul. You're occupying the beach, huh?
There you go. You can say that again.
You don't like being tear gassed?
Well, you know what? Not really in particularly, but it hasn't happened to me yet, so I can't tell you for sure.
Do you support the wars that are taking place, or would you like to see our troops come home?
I'd like to see our troops come home.
Right on. You know much about Ron Paul?
Of course.
Right on. What do you think about Ron?
I like him. The way how he talks, and it's just normal. It's not like a politician. The way he thinks and says things, it's not like a normal person would say, you know, or I guess not a normal politician.
All the shenanigans.
Right. It's like how you and I say, you know, you and I talk, you know, so it's pretty like, that's the thing that a lot of people draw to him. Real.
He's real and he's consistent.
Right. Exactly. You know what? Ron Paul has some great philosophies. I mean, honestly, all the other presidents, they're really radical or they're really, you know, democratic. I'm a conservative myself. Wants to bring our troops home. He's down. You know, he's like, we don't need to mess with anybody else's affairs. Let's just worry about America, and that's what I'm worried about.
How about the Federal Reserve? You like all these bailouts?
No, bailouts. You know, because if a company fails, another company will take its place.
Do you know who Ron Paul is?
He's a candidate.
Yeah. What do you think about some of his stances about freedom and bringing our troops home and ending the wars?
He's a libertarian, right?
Yes, he's into freedom and liberty. He's actually running as a Republican right now.
Oh, I'm a socialist.
Oh, you're a socialist, yeah? Right on. So do you like keeping your own money, or do you like paying your taxes, or what? Would you like to pay less taxes or more taxes?
Depends on what I'm getting for it.
Oh, well, wouldn't you prefer to just take your own money and spend it on what you like rather than hope the government spends your money on what you like?
Well, the government's not going to spend the money on anything that I like anyways.
Would it be smarter to have a bank that gave us loans without interest?
I don't know. I'm not in the market for a loan, so.
Well, right now we spend $1 trillion a year paying interest on money that the Federal Reserve creates out of nothing. So wouldn't it be smarter to instead spend $1 trillion a year on interest payments, spend that $1 trillion to give health care to everyone and fix the infrastructure of our country instead?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely some things that they can cut back on.
So you would be for a central bank that did loans at 0% interest instead of charging interest?
Central bank as in like a...
Like have the Treasury issue our currency instead of the Federal Reserve?
Well, it might be a better thing if it was a government program as opposed to a private one.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve is a private one.
Yeah, so...
Are you for bailing out, using taxpayer money to bail out the banksters that are enslaving you with debt?
Of course not.
So you don't like the bailouts, and you don't like the wars, and you don't like the Federal Reserve. I think we found ourselves a Ron Paul supporter, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not very political, but a hot girl wearing a nice bikini or holding a Ron Paul thing is pretty nice.
Nothing says liberty like fun in the sun and spreading the Ron Paul love. Yes, there is hope for America. So shifting our sights from the sun and sweet home Chicago to Tampa, how would you like to get involved with everything Paul? We have a special interview for you tonight. Brian Seaman joining us from the organization who is planning Paul Festival in Tampa, Florida, August 24th through 26th. Brian, welcome to Evolve. Can you tell us about this Paul Festival coming up in August?
Hello, Forrest. Thank you for having me on, by the way. I'm really happy to be here. Paul Festival is going to be what we're calling the largest festival for freedom the world has ever seen, and we believe the movement will be there to help make that possible. It is, of course, to honor Dr. Paul and the message of freedom and liberty that he's been delivering for the last 30 years, and to honor the people in the movement who have been working so hard the last 4 years to get involved with the process. Having said that, it's going to be a festival with music. Of course, we're going to have bands playing there. We're going to have some entertainment, so you have great speakers and comedians. And it wouldn't be a Paul Festival without activism, so stay tuned on everything that we'll have going on with that. So having said that, you know, it's definitely to make all of Tampa Paul Festival, kind of converge on it, bring the whole movement together in one place.
I love it. Now, where can our viewers find out about this festival and help out with it, volunteer, or perhaps donate?
The best place to do that would be at our website, which is paulfestival.com. And once you're there, everything should be easy to find. We've got it organized so you can find the volunteer tab, the donate button, and of course our Facebook and Twitter tabs are up there as well for everybody to get involved.
Well, I absolutely love this. And like Ron Paul says, if you're not having fun while you're doing it, you're not doing it right. And there ain't no party like a Ron Paul party, because a Ron Paul party don't stop. So Brian, it was a real treat. We're going to get the message out, and I will be seeing you in Tampa, and we hope our viewers will too, in August 24th through 26th. So thank you very much. We'll see you in the sun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Well, if you can't make it to Tampa, a number of you have asked what you can do to help. The answer is simple. Get involved in becoming a delegate or an alternate delegate in your state. Look into your state's rules on becoming that delegate. Learn the rules, network with the local Republican Party. I know it sounds crazy, but just become active. You have the chance to change history. You have that chance to restore the Republic. And it's up to you to take those steps and get active. Learn the local party, be respectful yet firm, and become the party. It's already happened in Iowa, it's happened in Alaska, and maybe your state's next. And for you Romney delegates, Ron Paul people, share this with those friends that are Romney delegates. You are bound to nothing in August except principles. In August, you have the chance to become what one day may be uttered as the day America took itself back. Between now and August, give yourself the time to truly look into Ron Paul and his record, his books, his philosophies, and ask yourself, which side of history do you wish to stand on? I'll tell you, from the liberty perspective, it'd be great to have you. We would welcome you with open arms. And so with that, thank you again for joining us on Evolve. Let us know how you spread the Ron Paul message by leaving comments below. This is your voice, so remember to share this to Facebook and Twitter and support the show with a donation to Revolution PAC. This is Forrest Jellick signing off. Until next week, don't live free or die, my friends. Just live free.